The first human 7 million years ago, in the vast, untamed heart of Africa, a creature walked upright, half human, half ape, uncertain of its place, yet beginning a journey that would define the world. This was the dawn of humanity. We begin with Sahelanthropus chadensis, a skull discovered in Chad, nicknamed Tumai, meaning hope of life. Its brain was tiny, barely 350 cubic centimeters, half the size of a chimpanzee's. Yet something remarkable stood out. The foramen magnum, the hole at the base of the skull, told a story. Upright walking, 2 feet, exploring the savannah. Hands free for the first tentative gestures of tool use. Its teeth were small, less specialized than other apes, hinting at a diet of soft fruits, tender leaves, survival through adaptation. Tumai, perhaps the first hominid to take bipedal steps, unknowingly shaping the future of the world. Millions of years later, around 6 million years ago, Tugenensis emerged in Kenya. Its thigh bone, almost identical to modern humans, confirmed it walked upright, but long arms, curved fingers, revealed a life still entwined with trees. Climbing remained essential. Orin moved between worlds, forest and savanna. Survival balanced on strength, caution and ingenuity. Time passed, and the hominids evolved. By 4 million years ago, the Australopithecines arrived. Among them, Australopithecus afarensis, known to us as Lucy. Discovered in Ethiopia in 1974, Lucy stood barely 1.1 meters tall, weighed only 29 kilograms, her brain just 400 cubic centimeters, yet she walked bipedally. Her shoulders, her curved fingers, betrayed her tree-climbing past. Lucy's life was precarious. Open plains exposed her to predators, but the trees offered refuge. Her species learning, surviving, evolving. Then there was Selim, a 3-year-old afarensis child, discovered in 2000. Her hyoid bone hinted at primitive vocalization, the sparks of speech. She learned by observation, imitation, curiosity. A tiny spark, the first glimmer of culture, of passing knowledge from one generation to the next. And in Tanzania, footprints in volcanic ash, preserved for 3.6 million years, 3 individuals moving together. Step by step, their big toes aligned, a family, perhaps, moving as one. Evidence of social cohesion, of intentional movement, of the first communities. Other Australopithecines emerged. A. Anamensis, upright walking, tough diet, resilient. A. Africanus, slightly bigger brain, early tool use. A. Boisei, massive jaws, specialized diet, brain 510 to 530 cc. Each species, a unique experiment in adaptation. By 3.3 million years ago, tools appeared. In Kenya, the Lemekwi tools. Stones, simple, functional, yet revolutionary. By 2.6 million years ago, Homo habilis refined the art. Choppers, scrapers, hammers. For the first time, humans shaped the world around them. Cut meat. Processed plants. Planned, anticipated, acted with foresight. Homo habilis, small in stature, 1 to 1.3 meters tall, yet their hands held intelligence. Social bonds began. Sharing food, teaching, learning, cooperation, the first culture. By 1.9 million years ago, Homo ergaster rose, taller, stronger. Brain 700 to 900 cc, they made Acheulean hand axes, cooperated on hunts, controlled fire, constructed simple shelters. Homo ergaster, the first to leave Africa, venturing into unknown lands, their ingenuity enabling survival across continents. By 2 million years ago, Homo erectus took the stage. Height approaching 1.8 meters, brain 850 to 1100 cc. Fully human in body, fully human in curiosity. They mastered fire, cooked food, warded off predators, gathered in social circles, exchanging knowledge, experience, culture. Tools became sophisticated. Axes, cleavers, planning required, foresight developed. Homo erectus built temporary shelters, branches, stones, leaves, creating spaces of safety and collaboration. And then they migrated. Georgia, China, Indonesia, Europe. For the first time, humans left Africa carrying tools, culture, fire, and hope. They hunted together, shared food, taught skills, communicated. They were not yet us, but they were unmistakably human. Bipedalism, brain growth, cultural learning, adaptation, fire, cooperation. The foundation of humanity was laid. Homo erectus had walked far and learned more than survival. By 1 million years ago, fire was no longer a chance discovery. It was controlled, mastered. Fires glowed in caves and rock shelters, warmth spreading through the night, food cooked, nutrients unlocked. Bodies stronger, brains larger, the shadows of predators kept at bay, stories exchanged across flickering flames. Tool-making had evolved too. The Herculean hand, axes, cleavers, choppers, not random stones, planned, shaped, symmetrical, functional, hands capable of precision, minds capable of strategy. The first evidence of foresight, of intentional design, of passing knowledge to another generation. Homo erectus was no longer simply surviving. They were thinking. They observed patterns in the world. They learned seasons, rain and drought. The movement of animals. They learned to cooperate, small groups hunting together, protecting each other, teaching young ones the paths to follow. They built shelters, rudimentary, yes, but safe, branches woven, rocks piled, spaces for fire, spaces for life. And then the world beyond Africa beckoned. They walked into unknown lands, Georgia, China, Indonesia, Europe, crossing rivers, scaling hills, facing climates harsher than the savannah. They survived, thrived, innovated. In these journeys, we see the first explorers, the first humans to move, not just for food, not just for survival, but for curiosity, for opportunity, for life. Language was still primitive, but communication existed. Gestures, sounds, signals, bonds forming. Social learning emerged. Observation became teaching. Imitation became tradition. These small acts, ordinary as they seemed, were extraordinary. They laid the groundwork for what it meant to be human. Fire, tools, cooperation, each generation learning, improving, surviving better than the last. And yet, mysteries remain. Did Homo erectus bury their dead? Did they mourn? Did they create symbols we will never understand? We see the footprints, the tools, the fire, but we cannot hear their thoughts. We cannot feel their fears. And perhaps that is part of what makes them human. By 500,000 years ago, Homo erectus had reached a peak of adaptation. They had mastered fire, refined tools, built shelters, spread across continents, developed social bonds and early culture. They were the architects of humanity's first steps, the first thinkers, the first experimenters. And in the forests, the plains, the caves, the echoes of their lives set the stage for something greater, something that would emerge far into the future. Something we call Homo sapiens. By 300,000 years ago, the first Homo sapiens began to appear. Smaller faces, higher foreheads, larger brains. Hands precise, capable of intricate tasks. They carried the knowledge of countless generations, the fire, the tools, the shelters, the lessons learned from countless migrations. But they did something new. They created symbols. Cave paintings in Africa. Ochre-stained hands. Carved bones, not just for survival but for expression. A thought captured in pigment. A story told without words. They painted animals they hunted. They painted themselves. They painted life as they saw it, and perhaps as they imagined it could be. Language blossomed alongside art. Simple sounds, evolving into complex communication. Stories passed. Knowledge shared. Plans made. Hunting strategies. Migration routes. Social norms. Cooperation became more sophisticated, groups grew larger, communities more structured, trust, loyalty, innovation. And tools. They evolved rapidly, points for spears, blades from flint, bone needles, cordage. The world was no longer something to merely survive, it became something to shape, to explore, to understand. Homo sapiens left Africa, across deserts, across seas, across mountains. Everywhere they went, they adapted, they invented, they endured, and in every step, they were guided by curiosity, by the drive to live, by the spark of intelligence that set them apart. Yet, mysteries lingered. Did they tell stories we will never hear? Did they question the stars as we do now? Did they dream as we dream? of the future they could not see. Archaeology gives us fragments, tools, bones, cave walls, footprints frozen in ash, but the soul of these first humans remains a whisper across time. They taught us the first lesson of humanity: survival is not enough. We are made by knowledge, by curiosity, by cooperation, and by the courage to step beyond the known. By 50,000 years ago, Homo sapiens had mastered fire, mastered tools, and mastered the migration of continents. They painted, they hunted, they built, they communicated, and slowly, they began to create the world we know today. Every human alive carries their legacy. The spark they lit still burns, and so we ask ourselves, who were they really? What thoughts passed through their minds as they stared at the stars? What choices did they make that shaped every life to follow? Their journey is the story of us. History remembers their courage, their curiosity, their humanity. The question is, what will your life teach someone tomorrow?